So how many of you have visited Rwanda before? So naturally, you're all Rwandans, those who have risen up. So, and I hope quite a number of you are planning to visit. So I'm going to talk about SDGs in the Rwandan context. Again, I'm going to be brief. Now, the SDG context and Rwanda, drawing from the MDGs, Rwanda has continued to embrace the domestication of the SDGs, and that one is demonstrated by the domestication of the SDG targets in the National Development Agenda. You have the African Agenda for Development 2063. We have the National and Poverty Transformation Plan. All these targets, you have the Ministry of Education. The SDG targets are domesticated within the national development frameworks. Now, that said, all is not sorted. We still have a long way. I'm just talking about the process. How does it happen? In Rwanda, we have the National SDG Domestication Committee, and this one is meant to actually create ownership of the SDGs themselves. Matter of fact, the African SDG Center is housed within Kigali, the capital city of Rwanda. And the role of this center is to support African countries, to develop tools, to monitor the implementation of the SDGs within the African countries. That's how, at least hopeful we are. Now, what does it mean for Rwanda to embrace SDG? What does it mean for Rwanda to embrace sustainable development? One, Rwanda is a country that people talk about differently. It's a country that 25 years ago, actually, if I'm not mistaken, went through one of the horrible genocides. But it's also a country that currently one gets proud to say, I'm from Rwanda, contrary to the past. It's a country that has picked up so fast. It's a country that has regained its image on the continent and globally. So for us, sustainable development goals, embracing them, domesticating them, there are quite a number of changes, reforms that are happening in the country. One, we have increased urbanization and industrialization in and around Kigali. And this requires careful planning. You talk about environmental conservation and proper utilization of resources. Of course, these are all topical issues for a new city, like a new country and a city like Rwanda. Two, you need to identify environmentally friendly energy sources, of course, for the huge population that is merging up. We're not as big as India. We are just 12 million. But also that goes with the size of the country, because we are 12 million, but also we are the most densely populated country in Africa. So that says a lot in terms of how we utilize our resources. Now we have a city, Kigali, wanting to make it sustainable. That has to say a lot with how we plan it. The other thing is that we have new policies. Rwanda, sometimes we say we are litmus paper. For those of you who did chemistry, I remember that word a long time ago. We are an experimental country. We try new reforms. They fail or they succeed, but we try new reforms. And that means we have to embed these targets as we make reforms. Now, one huge thing I'm going to talk about is that I do believe education is a critical ingredient to the achievement of all the other SDGs. I'm not saying this one because I'm a teacher. I'm just saying it because that's what possibility is. In 2015, we had to conduct national curriculum reforms. We have a centralized education system. It's not as state by state. It's just so centralized. And we came to that point where we really got to an awakening that we needed to reinvigorate the social capital that we had so much lost during that horrible genocide. We had an education system by virtue of its inception. Formal education in Rwanda, just like in many countries in Africa, was not inward-looking. It was colonial, and you understand what I mean here. I think our good friend from India talked about it. We had an education system that was outward-looking, and we had to revise it. We went from predominantly knowledge-based curriculum to competence-based. And by competencies, I don't mean the practical skills. I also mean the social capital, integrity, positive identities, responsible consumption, peace education, because you can't have a country that has gone through the genocide and you negate that aspect of peace education and coexistence and peaceful and harmonious living. So the new curriculum had quite a number of components, environmental education also. Now, this one meant a lot of changes. We had to revise the teacher qualification frameworks. The teacher training colleges had to adjust their curriculum. And so quite a number of aspects were incorporated. I was telling someone in the morning that we had a curriculum that also was very, I don't know how to express this one, but in most of the African countries, curriculum might easily alienate you from your own roots. And what I mean here is that when you speak good English, I would also say that people, not everyone, but people possibly get so happy when they speak international languages, English included. And I'm not saying that speaking English is bad. No, I'm also trying, you can see. But what I'm saying is that should speaking a foreign language alienate you from who you are? That's a big issue here. Because I do believe that the issue of cultural transmission is largely possible if children can speak their own languages, because that's how the social capital gets to be transmitted from generation to generation. And I believe we had that crisis, if I can call it, like Leon loves that word. I also love it. We had that learning crisis when the curriculum was not responsive to our own needs. And I'm not saying our own needs with disregard of other foreign international contexts, because again, I don't believe in education systems that are very close. So we revised it, and that meant a lot of effort in terms of research, in terms of teacher development capacity. Again, we had to redefine quality education, what quality education is. I mean, some people could say speaking very good international languages, that's quality. Others would say being so possessive of the social capital, others say that's quality. And we still are involved in that very philosophical discussion of what quality education is. And I believe it's not a static concept. It evolves. Human needs evolve. There are values that should accompany the achievement of certain goals. I believe it evolves. So we are in this debate here. And why do I really think that this project is well aligned to the topical issues that we've been discussing? The University of Rwanda has it has three tier roles. There's teaching, there's research, and there's community engagement. Now, we have research clusters by the University of Rwanda, which is a knowledge and research hub for the country. One being the agricultural transformation and food security, socio-economic transformation and sustainable development. The third being environment, natural resources, and climate change, actually. Inclusive governance and peace and security. The fifth being urbanization and green cities, and human settlements, and quite a number of others. Now, with all due consideration, before I came here, I met with Phil Cotton, who is our Vice Chancellor, and he really sent special greetings and appreciations to the University of Bristol, but before I came here, I only knew about Leon. So I accept his greetings, but also accept his appreciation of your efforts in this project, because the goals of this project are perfectly aligned to the university's transformation agenda. And the capacity, the exchange of knowledge, the partnerships, I think those are critical ingredients to the achievements of the university's research agenda, but the country's journey to sustainable development, to achieving sustainable development goals. With that, I think I do appreciate your silence and your very great attention. I want to keep it here again and keep up the curiosity. I'll be around to answer any question, but I don't want to tell you everything about the country. I'll be doing injustice to my people. So thank you so much again for listening. We'll appreciate it.